We're here at the Lost Boys Center for Leadership Development in downtown Phoenix, talking to former Sudanese Lost Boy Jany Dang, who's now the program director. Jany, can you tell us a little something about yourself and how you came to be in Phoenix?
How I came as refugees from South Sudan. So it used to be Sudan, but now South Sudan. So 17 years ago, up middle of all the civil war that, I left the village when I was only 7 years old. I thought maybe it was going to be like just 2 days to go to return. I didn't realize I was going to be ready for the next decade, for 27 years later on. So I get to go to Ethiopia and then eventually to Kenya and eventually to the United States 17 years ago. So the Sudan in general been in a war for almost 50 years since I get independent from British and Egyptian. So Sudan was British, Egyptian, and they're the one who were ruling before the Arab from the Arab nation started coming in. Our grandparent didn't know what was going on. They were just tribal in Africa, had houses, They don't have an education. They don't know what it stakes here. In 1955, Sudan got independent after the fighting, the tribal. So now you get all this Arab fundamental coming to this land. Now you get this African black Sudanese. They don't know what they're doing. They just they cow herd, they just go after cows. There were 8 office job from the government, because when British left, they always just leave a mess, a lot of mess. It's everywhere. They do it in the world, So there's 8 jobs who are government representing jobs. Well, guess who qualified for those jobs? Those are Arabs, because they went to school, not the black Sudanese. And that's when the trouble began. Those who are few of the Sudanese who understand, Southern Sudanese who understand a little bit what's going on, they started rebelling and fighting. So that took from 1955 all the way to 72. Addis Ababa agreement, kill over so many people. They go and round up all the leaders they think it's a threat to them. They go round them, they kill them, or they buy them off. So now the international community come in the 72, sign the peace. From 1982, so now you get 10 years, so now we have to train. So now the rest of our people said, what do we do? Those who survive, they're like, we gotta start training again. We gotta fight until the last man. So from 72 to all the way to 1983 to 1982, it took like almost 10 years, 8 years. Every man and children started recruiting to go to training camp, to become soldiers, young as 8-year-old. Either you left there, you get killed, you get your head chopped off, or you get to join the fight. The North government decided, let's just crush them all, nothing left. And that's why they started coming in 1983. They want to crash every village they have. The people who were supporting them, they were getting a lot of financial support from their Arab countries. And also, by that time they were discovering a lot of oil. They were taking a lot of oil from the south. They very much wiped out all the people who are in these villages, and they started getting aggressive and bigger and stronger. The Chinese was behind the oil, getting them. Like what they do today to many countries. They don't care. You just go, you give me money and give you weapon. And then the Russians. Now, the 1980s during the Cold War. This is very funny. It's crazy how it's all work. So, when our rebel group finally fighting with the government, the United States government, it's crazy. They were supporting the North Sudan to crush us in the south. We actually have some of the tank was written in there, Reagan tank. This is 1980, yeah, and there, this is it's like it's a made in USA, So the reason being, our leader John Grant, who took over in 1981, you know, in '83 actually, when the next war actually happened again, he was associated. The people who were training our Southern Rebel Army, which is us, was the Russian. AK-47. We're getting the funding from we're getting the AK-47 buy-in from Russia. Now the U.S. with a Cold War with Russia at that time. See how tricky again? So now they're supporting the other side. And the Cuban, Fidel Castro, their military, they're the one with training our military. Now you get this Cold War, the Cuban missile was just done then, the Cold War with Soviet Union. So that's why the U.S. was getting involved on the other side instead of the other side. So during that time, I was only 7 years old. I finally reached to my village in 1987, and that's when I finally left. So the war actually just been going on over 3 million people, even though we always just said it's 2 million, but it's, you know. So that's how I will become part of the displaced and many displaced. So now I have to walk. I was very much, I always said, we very much, we were running for our life as a young child. I was just thinking that I was just going to go back home when I see the flame and bombing, and some of the women, some of our women and some of the children were taken slave and raped and get killed eventually by the soldier. So anything was moving. The younger you have 7-year-old, 8-year-old, you have no choice other than you join the army so you can go fight. And some of my relatives, my brother that who ended up getting killed here, 2 years after we arrived, we came together here. She served in the army at age 8. Yeah. I ended up going to Ethiopia, in the refugees camp in Ethiopia, because I ran from the war. A lot of killing was going on, seeing everything you can imagine at a young age. Walked for a month and years to refugees camp. No food, nothing. People die all the way. Then in 1991, the Ethiopians have their own civil war. Now we ran back to South Sudan. Then we just came back. There's nothing there. We started to walking toward Kenya. When we get to refugees camp in Kenya, the Kenyan government said, we don't want you. We're homeless, very much, like nobody wants us. We don't want you, and therefore, so the international community like Red Cross and United Nations, even though, you know, they don't do much when you try to get on the United Nations, they're worthless, you know. They try to negotiate with the Kenyan government. They had to bribe them. They finally, okay, it's okay if you can get them out of here within this circle of time. UN referred to the United States and other countries, hey, we have all these massive children, massive these refugees. They're just gonna die here in this camp if nobody do anything. And that's when the United States government, like many of us, your grandparents, that's how we get to come to this country. That's why everyone get to come to this country, you know. They starting to resettlement. Refugees from Sudan, like myself, and that's how I get to become. So that you have to go through a lot of paperwork why you want to come to US. Basically, I was persecuted from my homeland, so I was refugee. So they can research me any country that would love to. So that's how, to answer your question, I know it's a long answer, that's how
it's interesting.
Get to come here. So when you get to come here and you get accepted, like my case, I was under age. So I was 16 years old when I arrived. By the time I arrived, I left 7. By the time I arrived to US, I was 16.
Jeez.
So the government helped refugees only 3 months. So you come here, you come to a big area, you don't even know the language, you don't even know where to take the bus, you don't even know the direction, you don't even know how you're gonna get around. They help you with just a short time, and you're on your own up to that. And that's how many of the refugees the world that you
And that's how the center started?
That's how we started to continue, like plan B, so we can have them, and that's exactly why.
And you've completed your degree at Arizona State?
Yes. And so, well, first when I got in here, I didn't speak a word of English, so I have to so they put me in a foster home, which is I was very fortunate and lucky to have, a foster home family that can take care of me. So they had to put me immediately to high school. When I came, I couldn't write or couldn't read at all. So from there, I had to get myself to get done with with high school and then go to college. So I went to Prairie Valley Community College first. before I went to ASU.
Yeah.
So I finished my 2 year of certification degree from the community college, and then eventually to ASU.
So you've been in the U.S. now for how many years?
17 years.
Do you see yourself identity-wise, when you think of yourself, when you think of Jany Dang, how do you define yourself?
Well, as far as the origin, I would define myself, I'm Sudanese African, you know. So that I can say that. But as far as the person into for goal and dream that I want to, you know, things I want to do, I want to, you know, I want to go help other, but whatever it might be. So that's what I've already been doing for almost 11 years now here for this organization, and I want to continue to the high level. You know, that mean I have to go back to South Sudan to do that, or here, whatever way. So it's already done that. So.
Are Sudanese refugees still arriving in the United States or in Phoenix?
No, not so much anymore, because after the peace treaty was signed, so the United States government decided to put a cap on the Sudanese who were, on the number that were coming. But there are some that their cases will fall in the crack that are still now and there, but not like what it used to be. And the other part of that is, you see, not only just Sudan have a problem, how civil war, many other area.
Yes, yes.
You know, so how it happened, you know how it work with the resettlement agency, with the State Department, is that they try to switch to the next group, to the next country. What we used to do, we used to have people here in inner city who already came to the United States, came to Phoenix, Arizona. We would focus on them, just helping them here, finding them jobs, life skill, because many of them are new. You know, coming from refugees camp, and many of these areas, they're not familiar with anything, light switched or anything. So we decided, you know, we were going to help. So the center, the whole center was a resource center for them, for opportunity, education, employment, some of the legal work like mental health, post-traumatic stress disorder, because some of these people were, you know, and then also mentor. So we were just focused on that. So we were launching a lot of program workshops and all that. Well, all these young men and young women now, 6 years, you know, 9 years later, they're all graduating from Arizona State University. They have their degrees. So we feel, well, now they don't need the same service anymore. Now they're needing a different service, and especially the leadership. So it's very much we decided to have a leadership training. So leadership development, and that's what the center named, Lost Boys Center for Leadership Development. So the whole idea, we took just one program that I mentioned earlier, which is education. So we want to take this, not only just, we're taking this, just, okay, a whole bunch of people just getting together, and then they want to go, well, what are you doing? So we want to make sure we taught them how to be the leader for the rest of the world, not only just stop there after they done for their own growth. They went through all this training and education and all that, but they need other leadership skill, because some of these are going to be the leader future for South Sudan or for the world. So we decided, so the work we are doing here, we try to implement that leadership tie to education together, so they can able to go to teach other. So that's what we are doing here in the center, and we have other. We have one program. We have an elderly community here that we don't speak. They don't speak the language. So that's what you saw. I think you met our intern Bree from ASU Learning Service. So they also, we have a group of them. They come and learn English here, and also getting their U.S. citizenship. So that is going on like a side track kind of, you know, like a back track kind of program kind of thing. But mostly we just implement a program to take people to be, we very much going to be the national or the international organization to take people back to South Sudan. That's very much that we're working on right now.
You're based here in Phoenix. Now, do you know a lot of Sudanese immigrants or refugees here? Do you guys keep close contact, and do you have strong connections yet back in South Sudan?
Yes, well, I tell you, so we have for the work that we did, what this organization did for the last, since 2003, since we opened it, you know. So we become the national icon.
Okay.
with pretty much everybody, including all our leaders, including John Garang, who actually our late who died in 2005. So he actually get to come to our whole center before we switch our mission. Our community is very small. Even though we have like 50,000 Sudanese who are in the United States alone, refugees who come through here, we all know each other.
You have some kind of program here that trains leaders and possibly sends them back to Sudan. Can you tell us a little more about that?
So our fellow program is called the fellow. It's like sort of Peace Corps kind of thing.
Yes.
So we decided after this year of January is that, well, we want to lead what we were doing with the whole center, or we want to just stop, not continue with the organization. The organization staff and the board member, they get together, rub their head around, well, maybe now South Sudan just become independent, and South Sudan is going to need a lot of help. Who will not be the better to serve their country than those who came here already before? And that's how we came up with the idea. So the whole idea is that they all want to go back, everyone, including myself, all of us. We want to go back. We want to be part of this rebuilding new nation. Well, in order for us to go, we can just show up and tell the government official, here, I'm here. It would be very difficult. We have to bring the skill and the expertise and the thing that we learn that this country have given to us, so we can help our nation rebuild to start. So that way there's no another civil war that will be happening again in the future. So we basically, and we still working, try to find fund right now to try to launch this program. But everything is all instruction in the place, and that's why we're going in February to go get destruction done in southern Sudan. We will have to have an office there, and we'll come back, and hopefully our funding will come by then, and then we will get the recruiting going, and not only just people who are in U.S. Those young women and young men. We try to launch this to everyone every Southern Sudanese who have opportunity and want to go back to their homeland so they can go help.
Jany, there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for your program and for the Sudanese people who are here now. Is there also more or less a sense of obligation to take these opportunities that you've all been received here and bring them back to South Sudan as it starts off as a new country?
Absolutely. You will talk to every Southern Sudanese you can talk to someone in Canada, in Australia, in Europe country, wherever they might be, in Holland, whatever, Sweden, you name it. Russia, whatever they might be, London, we all over the world, it's very crazy. So you will talk to anybody, because you remember, many of us, like myself, in my lifetime, I never know this peace deal, and we get and lead into the hearts to get our nation, what could happen. So for many of us, we didn't know. It's very shocking, and therefore everyone is so excited to go to try to do something. Well, the question is always, well, what are you going to go do? Well, and that's why we decided we want to take this education. So based on education, we're going to start young, because everyone, they've seen the education as the goal for very much everything. And we want to take this opportunity to when you go to this third world country, you start with one thing. But and then the other things gonna come from that. So we have to start with education, and we're going to be teaching 5th grader and 6th grader, and that's what we're recruiting these fellows for. So it will be a 1-year program, and with a little bit of stipend. It's not a job for them, and they know that it's not a job. But however, they have a lot of opportunity when they're able to be there, go there. They can now, while they're doing this volunteer work and helping their own countrymen and women, they can also get their foot on the door with other government agency jobs. So they can decide to want to get a job there, stay there, or they can come back to their own jobs here.
Let me ask you about North Sudan. I know the borders are still a bit vague, and such. But overall, do you know any North Sudanese in Phoenix, and how's the relationship between North and South Sudanese here?
Yeah, its relationship is not as strong than we want to. The Southern Sudanese, they really welcome them all the time. They come to our meeting. Like when our vice president came and addressed the entire Southern Sudanese here, they all welcome. They came, and they want to, they want to take what they take out of it, So they're here for the same reason. The government of Sudan, it's a bad regime, so it's treating everybody really like inhumane, So they get out there, actually, some of them are getting persecuted also. So that's why they have to be here.
Right.
So we have to go, we're finding common ground on all that. It's a bad regime, not the people.
Okay, so you define the conflict in Sudan as not as some people simplify between Christian and Muslim?
I wouldn't put it that way, no. It's beyond the religion, no. It's just a bad governorship like many other dictator, Bashir he's a dictator, and just he doesn't see the human life that it's really valuable, other than just for himself. So
Jany, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. This Sudan Lost Boys Center for Leadership Development certainly looks like it's going to be a success.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Keluru do que tal